This is the Pat Nat Cast, a podcast hosted by Pat Nat Games. Today I'm joined by Brian Henken. He's known for his various think pieces on all things video games, as well as his musical pieces, and his immaculate capabilities of being able to string bizarre elements together and somehow form it in a cohesive video package, including a cohesive title, because you have really good titles. That's crazy. Brian, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, the titles is that I actually never really thought about that, although it does take up quite a bit of brain power. I have
Right.
such difficulty naming my videos. They typically don't have a name until
Yeah.
the very end.
Well, that's the sign of someone who's doing it well because if it came easy, that would probably mean you're not making good titles, right? So I can only imagine the amount of drafts you go through and how many words you're like, can I cut out a word here? Can I cut out a word there? But the biggest thing that struck me when I stumbled across your videos was just like I guess a video for an example. A video I really like of yours is where you're talking about like games that people hate in a way. I don't remember the exact name of it,
Yes.
but
I don't remember exactly what it's called. Oh no, I think it's just called I Hate This Game.
I hate this game, right? And I love that video. By the way, it's a great video. But one thing that immediately struck me was like, uh, it seemed like a compilation of things that you just wanted to talk about, and you found a way to actually string them all together, which I always find difficult with some of my own videos, where I'm like, I want to talk about this game, I want to talk about this concept of this game, but like actually packaging all that into a cohesive package and titling it so that people will actually click on it and feel like they're in something bigger than just these random collection of thoughts. Uh, I admire that. Not to say your whole video was full of random thoughts. It was just the way you're able to piece that together. I very much appreciate it. It felt like some inside baseball of like, oh wow, that is something I would have struggled with to find this outlet for this video. Like, I mean, the title of just I hate games or whatnot. You know, it's ambiguous enough, yet it covers everything that you cover in that video. And I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, it didn't start this way, but a
Uh
lot
huh.
of the projects that I work on are very, like, in the writing phase, they're very stream of consciousness where I'll think of one thing and it makes me think of another thing, and then I just kind of follow that trail
Right.
until I've reached some sort of epiphany or some sort of crescendo of thoughts where I'm like, okay,
Sure.
this all makes sense now. And the I hate this game video is it I felt really bad about making it because I
Really.
got the idea of making it from watching this video by another YouTuber, named Skitty Bitty, who I'm actually, like, reasonably decent friends with now, where they
Gotcha.
were, like, talking about, Tears of the Kingdom and how much that they didn't like it, and they had this
Right.
thumbnail where it was just like, "It's bad," in big letters, and the video is literally called "I
I
Hate Tears
see.
of the Kingdom." And
Okay.
it's like 3.5 hours long, and I was like, "That's crazy." Like, they really, like, did not like this game enough to where they had to, like, write this whole, like, Peter
Right.
Jackson length video on it, but I was like, "No, I think, like, this a video like that is almost kind of important because it's letting
Right.
you see things from, like, a different angle." And the video had, like,
Absolutely.
a ton of dislikes when I found it. The comments were like, "You're wrong, like, this is crazy." But I remember
Right.
thinking, "No, like, as much as I don't agree with what they're saying or, like, I can't quite, like, understand it, or I can't quite, like, see it from that angle, I at least
Yeah.
understand how
Yeah.
they get there." And I think it's important to be like, "Yeah,
Absolutely.
this is all so subjective that there's no way you could just definitively be like, 'This is bad, this is good.' It's all just
Right.
even down to, like, how you were feeling that day." It's I don't know, even now, like, the way I'm talking about it is very stream of consciousness, but which is crazy
No,
to
I
talk about that video. I the last thing I
right.
remember of that video is me botching the color grading at the end, and it my skin is, like, yellow at the end of that
That
video.
that was another thing I was toying with bringing up in the introduction is just how your video quality has no business being as good as it is, or at least your camera work specifically. I'm terrible with that stuff. So when I see it, I'm like, okay, yeah, there's a reason. There's a reason. There's people out there who are better than me because they can do stuff like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
well, I
no,
started off pretty rough at it too.
oh sure, I'm sure everyone does. I decided to upgrade quality like once in my life, and then I've never upgraded it ever again. And I I don't know why. I don't know why. I just in my head, I'm so focused on what I'm saying that everything else is just secondary. It's like I just want to talk my thoughts and stuff. But
Yeah.
um,
And it's also like a whole thing of like the sword is only as strong as the hand who swings it. I've always like
sure.
told people if you want to like make a video and you want to make something good, just go out and do it, even if it's with your phone. You'd be
Yeah,
surprised with
absolutely.
what you can do with the bare minimum.
Right, definitely. And ultimately, to circle this back to hot takes, uh, you can get by with any level of quality if you actually have something new to provide, and that's what's great about these video gaming hot takes is that they do provide something new. They do go against the grain, and as gamers, we need that. We need thoughts and opinions that don't just regurgitate the same thing over and over again. That's not only makes more boring YouTube, but it also makes less risky games, less games that are ambitious to go against the grain because they don't have thoughts pushing those ideas. So I love hearing hot takes. I think a video I've been kind of workshopping in my head is hot takes and why gaming needs them. It's important to point out things that you're emotionally attached to, even if other people aren't in the same emotion, because ultimately how we respond to games is the same way we respond to any art form, which is our emotions. And if we tap into our emotional side and get emotional with the game, then we're bringing out reception that we're supposed to bring out anyway, just from experiencing them. So all those perspectives are important, basically.
Yeah, I mean, like without that, you're not gonna have something as out there as like Death Stranding, like where it
Oh,
is
for sure.
so
Yeah.
in your face about how different it is that
Yeah.
5, 6 years prior, a game like that comes out, or a game like that wouldn't come out because
Right.
like we were so I don't know. I feel like it's really exciting because we're in a time where you can make any game that you want, and
Right.
your limits are they're almost not there in some cases. You can kind of do anything. But when
Right.
I think of like a game I'd love to make or like a game I'd love to play, I almost have these weird guardrails up in my brain of
Uh-huh.
like I couldn't even fathom something different than like another open world game or another beat
Right.
'em up. Like genre has become very, very rigid where
Right.
a new game comes out and immediately you'll hear, "Oh, well, it's kind of like a mixture of this game," or "It's
Yeah.
very
Right.
similar to this genre." But then when you get something that's truly different because someone really was like, "No, I I see things a little differently."
Right.
That different perspective I think is really important because you need to be challenged in art
Yeah.
and you need to be challenged in your hobbies. I feel like you're not otherwise it's just gonna get stale. It's just gonna be boring.
It is. Right. And I think when I think back to like the first jump to the third dimension, how game genres had to be completely flipped on their head, right? Because they didn't know how to translate every single 2D genre into 3D, and they didn't know how 3D was going to amplify those genres. And because of that, in those first PlayStation, Nintendo 64 generations, there were plenty of games that would seem almost genreless um, in the context of today because they didn't kick off the whole genre based on their style. They were still learning all these things. And yet those are some of the most memorable games to people because they were experimental and they were trying new things. Um, and to kind of bring this back around slightly on the topic of having personal takes and personal feelings that it's against the grain and keeping things not stale. I did prepare an icebreaker question for you. Just
Oh
a
boy.
little question to
Sure.
get the audience to know you, get the audience to know me. A nice little. I guess they call it a question that breaks ice. So I have one of those. My question, and I've asked this before, but I thought it was very much applicable to you given this recent video that I very much enjoyed about I Hate This Game titled,
Yeah.
that's in theaters.
My
Um,
ice is ready to
the
be broken. I'm pretty hyped.
Yes, yeah, I know. I've been hyping it up for a while now. I've been making you wait, and it's not necessary. The question is, what is a game that is critically adored that you just for whatever reason really don't like? And what is a game that is critically panned, but for whatever reason you love? Now, as you take some time to think about it, it could be a matter of a game just being a genre that you're not into, or it could be a game that you thoroughly enjoy, but you don't like what it stands for. It could be a game that you just think was way underpraised or way overpraised. The baseball field's the limit. Which means there is a limit, but it's pretty wide. You got a lot of space to work with. Are there any games that immediately come to your mind?
Oh man, that's really hard
It
because
is a tricky one. It is a tricky
yeah,
one.
like I feel like a lot of the games that are like really, really popular, I'm like super, super into. Um,
Sure.
but there's alright, and a game that's bad that I love,
Yeah.
that would
Another relatively challenging one.
that
And,
is, I
and, and
like,
to be to clarify, you don't have to think it's bad, but maybe the broader public thinks it's bad, and you're the sole defender or something, right? Even if in your head it's not bad at all, that's okay too. Or you could just be like, yeah, I know this game's bad, but I still love
it's funny because I'm kinda working on video that explores that a little bit,
it.
and,
Okay.
oh, you know what? I cannot for the life of me understand World of Warcraft. I don't get it.
Okay.
I have
Yeah.
tried many times to play with friends, and I just don't
Sure.
understand what what I'm supposed to do with World of Warcraft. It
Right.
feels like it is a for me, it feels like it's a game that is fighting me to enjoy it because there's
Sure.
just so many like the UI is so cluttered, things take
Yeah.
way too much time. I just
hmm
can't I just can't get down with it. But I don't think it's
It's
a bad
very
game either.
right. It's very repetitious too. So I played it for like a couple months, and one thing that just kept going through my mind was all these quests feel the exact same to me because they just have swapped out assets or swapped out
Yeah.
sprites, and repetition weighs on me quickly. Basically, the grind per se. I don't have the grind set mindset, as the cool kids say. I the grind gets to me pretty quickly, so I completely understand that one.
Oh yeah, I can't I'm not a big fan of grindy games. But for a
Right.
game that like is really, really well, either it's bad or it's not looked on very well would be would would probably be Donkey Kong 64 at this point. I
I
know a
had a
lot of
feeling.
people
Yeah.
really don't
Sure.
like it, but I think I have an even more interesting interesting is such a weird way to put it. Interesting example, but
Okay.
VR chat. VR chat,
Okay.
it's like barely a game and it has
Sure.
such an awful reputation of just like some of
Sure.
the weirdest, like worst people you've ever met in your life hanging
Yeah,
out on there.
yeah, I have
But
heard,
for
yeah.
some reason, I just can't get enough of it.
No
It's like
kidding.
people watching to the extreme. It's so much fun. Like I really love getting in there and just like watching people interact with each other.
That's
But at the
funny.
same time, sometimes it's nice to just go to one of those like cozy worlds they have there and just kind of leave it on in the
Right.
background while I'm doing something. If I were to look now, I think in VR chat on Steam, I have two 236
Wow.
hours in it. I have
Okay.
played quite a bit of that game.
So I'm going to assume that you don't get nausea from playing VR.
Well, I have to play it in the desktop mode because I do get pretty bad nausea from VR.
So
I
you don't
actually when
play
I
it in
did have a
VR.
headset, I had to leave at one point a game because I had to run to my bathroom to
Oh
throw
my
up.
gosh. Okay, so I think the plot thickens a little bit here because not only are you spending this much time in VR chat, but you're not actually in VR during this time.
No, I am like WASD mouse and keyboard
That is so
just
funny.
hanging out.
Okay. Well, more props to you. Would you consider yourself extroverted?
Uh I don't know. I feel like in my case it'd be weird to say it's one way or the other. I'm definitely more
Sure.
extroverted, but it's more of a 60-40, maybe even 70-30 uh
Right.
split in favor of being an
Yeah.
extrovert. Because I
Well, and
definitely have times I'm like, I can't talk to anybody. I have to plug into the wall. I
sure.
have to go into my room and no one's allowed to hang out
Yeah,
with me.
absolutely. And I think games like VR chat can, in a way, appeal more to introverts because there's this, I don't know, I guess this baseline of socialization where because you're not physically there, you don't have all the physical pressures that you do when you're just out in the wild, that thing called outside. I don't go out there,
Yeah,
but other
where
people
the
do,
grass is at that they keep telling me to touch.
Right. Yeah. What is this grass they keep talking about? And why
I
do they
think it's
want
a
me to touch
myth.
it so bad? Yeah, I think so.
I
I think
I
so.
think it's made up. I think it's like a Santa Claus Easter bunny type thing.
Right. Yeah, probably.
But it is kind of a
Probably. Well,
beautiful thing, right? Like someone who might have a hard time having a
sure.
conversation in real life can get on there and
Yeah.
all they need is their Garfield avatar and they're ready to go. Like, you know what?
Right.
If that's what it takes, sure.
Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful little thing.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's a moment in a lot of gamers' lives where that becomes extremely fascinating to people is being able to communicate with people via the internet. I had a period of playing like Facebook social games, and I was probably socializing more on there than with my actual friends. And uh, to me, I just saw it as like this is a slice of life right here. So I can understand the appeal of
Yeah.
wanting to experience other communities by getting together. I also get extremely nauseated when I use a headset. I also got rid of mine because it was too much. Um, so I don't
Yeah.
imagine I would get lost in that world per se. But
Couple rounds of super hot and I thought I was gonna die.
Super Hot was the only one that didn't bother me. Funny enough, I think because I
Really?
was so stationary. Yeah, it's the ones where you have to move specifically. But you might be more screwed up than I am if Super Hot's getting you. In which
Oh, my
case, I'm
motion
sorry.
sickness is
That's
bad.
unfortunate.
I'm like can't go on my phone in the car type bad.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah, you're a different level. Well, I'm glad as accessible as games are, you found a way to play a VR game without the VR headset and still thoroughly
Yeah.
enjoy it. So that's great.
Even with my horrible
Um,
motion, I'm cut from a different cloth. I'm a different breed of motion
sure,
sickness kind of guy.
sure. Yeah, I think those are two very understandable answers. I one last thing I'll say about WoW, just because I find myself defending WoW a little bit to my WoW hater friends a little bit, even though I only played for like 3 months. Um, is I still think when you actually have a party put together to take on a dungeon, I think that's still some of the most fun I've had like with friends playing the game. And I don't think a lot of games are able to capture that as well as WoW does.
Oh, it's gotta feel
It's just
like
a
being on
shame.
drugs. It has to be amazing. I can
Yeah,
recognize that for sure.
right, right. It's just you have all the grind attached to that, and then the subscription model. And I'm just like, okay, no, I don't want anything to do with that. But I think those are both very good answers, and I probably feel similarly, at least for WoW. Um, and as for me, as for a game, because I'll just steal your answer for WoW. As for a game that other people pan that I love, um, this uh, shoot, I actually probably should have prepared an answer before I asked you the question, but I you know,
A
I
game
really
that
like these.
everybody hates that you love? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
kind of. More or less. I have an answer though. I think
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
think sorry, I should explain this. Usually I ask the icebreaker question myself too, so I can get to know myself a little better as well. Um the game is games that are like boring simulation games. I call it like the boring genre of video games, which is like American Truck Simulator or Mud Runner.
Oh,
That kind of
yeah, yeah.
genre of like very tedious tasks for very little reward and maybe too much like real life to warrant playing a video game over. For some reason, if I have the right friend with me, I can sink a couple of good hours into that and thoroughly enjoy those good hours when we're doing the most boring stuff, like getting yourself out of a mud pile with the tractor chain and trying to get relatively similarities of Southern California and driving American Truck Simulator, and then painfully backing your truck out of a parking spot and getting back on the road. Stuff like that. I feel like in no world should that be fun. I look at that, I'm like, why am I spending time on this? For some reason, I can just lock in with it and just thoroughly enjoy it, either with a friend or with the show playing or something. Um, and I'm here for it. I got to be in the mood, and I understand why people don't like it and why people aren't in the mood. But that's probably the best on the spot answer I could come up with for a game that other people might not like so much. I mean, people do like the game, but
Yeah.
I don't
I actually love American Truck Simulator.
know. There you
I
go.
can
There
really
you
get
go.
down with it. I have a
Yeah,
friend who's more obsessed with it than I am. He plays it like
sure.
every single day, but I have to
They
be in a
exist.
specific mood for it for sure, but I when I'm in that mood, yeah, I'm super down with American Truck Simulator.
Yeah. Something wild, this is off topic. Something super wild though. I was looking at the Epic Games sales and I saw the 6-year edition of SnowRunner was on sale and I was like, "Oh, interesting." And how much is, how much is it with the sale? It's $123 and I was just like,
What?
"That's with the sale?" I guess it's like
That's
6 years worth of
crazy.
DLC or something. But in my head I'm just like, who in their right mind is going to pay $120 for SnowRunner at a like I'm close to that demographic, but even I wouldn't go anywhere near 120. I don't even
I
think
would
I'd pay
love to
AAA
meet that
price for a
person.
SnowRunner.
I
I
need to
was
meet
I
this
was
guy.
dumbfounded. I was like, I even have like a $9 voucher, but even knocking $9, I'm not paying $110 for SnowRunner, even with all the DLC. That's wild.
I can't
Yeah,
think
I,
of
I
any
took a
game I'd put
screenshot
that
because I
kind of
could
money
not
into.
believe it.
That's
Yeah, I
crazy.
I I don't know. I like the game. I don't like it that much. You know what I mean? It's just 120 is wild. Um Speaking of
100's
wild
insane.
games, yeah, I know it's crazy. Uh Speaking of wild games that are crazy, what kind of games have you been playing, Brian? What's been in your hands? What's been on your screen? What have you been experiencing lately that you might want to share with us today?
I had kind of a long phase of not really playing much. I had spent so much
Okay,
time working on videos that I didn't I wasn't playing anything. I was like,
sure.
"Man, that's sad. I gotta start playing games." So recently, I've been getting back into Celeste, which is like one of my favorite games ever. I love Celeste.
Sure.
Um, Taking the edge off with Kingdom Hearts, which God, I love Kingdom Hearts so much.
The
I've been
with the
playing it
first one
since day
specifically
one.
or
The series. I mean, I
Oh, okay.
recognize that it's insane and it's
Uh-huh.
absolutely a crazy series of games, but I can't get
Sure.
enough of it. Um, so those are my 2 single player games that I've been kinda bouncing back between, but I the one game I've been going really, really crazy on lately is
Uh-huh.
Phasmophobia. I've been playing it with my friends
Okay.
just about every other night. I can't
And
get
just
enough
to
of it.
clarify, not in VR again, I assume.
Oh, yeah, not in VR, not in VR.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Really? So what draws you to Phasmophobia? I know it was very popular maybe 4 years ago at this point, which is crazy, but
Yeah.
what's the main appeal to you?
I don't know exactly, and it's funny because I thought about making a video on it because I was so just dumbfounded. There are a few games like that are very like rigid in their design that I can
Sure.
kind of replay over and over and over again. But this one
Right.
specifically, I don't know what it is about this gameplay loop that really, really drags me into it. But for
Uh-huh.
some reason, just the whole you have a haunted house, you need to figure out what kind of ghost is haunting the house. Here's a
Right.
bunch of tools to figure it out with and get some videos, get some pictures. Something about it just I don't know, I love it. And it's this whole thing of like I can do it over and over and over and over again and not get
Right.
tired of it. And I think it's also just a social thing with my friends. My friends all like it
For
too.
sure.
But I think
Yeah, I
the unpredictability of it is something I really like. Where like
right.
anything can happen. You can have a ghost that is extremely, timid, doesn't want to mess with you at all,
Right.
or you can have this like unbelievably aggressive demon that is just constantly
Yeah.
on you. And it's just like fun to be like, it's almost like a game of cat and mouse where you are rarely the cat.
Right. Right. No, I think there's the spectacle of playing games under threat, and then there's the spectacle of playing games under threat with your friends. And I think things like Phasmophobia and Lethal Company can really latch on to people because of that. This
Oh
idea that
yeah,
you're in the
Lethal Company
trenches
is
together
really
and it's
fun.
dangerous for everyone. um, the multiplayer horror genre is already a fascinating one to begin with. But then when you add comms to it, which both Phasmophobia and Lethal Company use, it elevates it to a whole nother level, I think. And I
Oh
think
yeah.
I haven't played Phasmophobia, but to my understanding, like the thing that would probably appeal to me the most is the walkie-talkie action, is the, like, trying to actually communicate, and, to my understanding, Phasmophobia, it'll, like, cut out comms every once in a while, right? It'll find ways to make it so you're not always talking to people, is that correct?
Yeah, so the ghosts can't just attack you outright. They have to get into this mode where they're hunting you, like they're actively trying to kill
Right.
you and trying to find you. And during those moments, if you try to get on the radio and talk, it'll just be static. And then there's always that weird moment after the hunt
Right.
is
Okay.
over and you're like, "Hey man, are you still alive? Hey dude, are you still alive?
Right.
Hello? Are you there?" And you realize that
Yeah.
they're dead.
Okay. Yeah. Similar to Lethal Company, where you'll occasionally check in and get no response. I love that
Yeah,
thrill. I think that's honestly, I'd probably really like Phasmophobia. I would need my friends to get into it too, but it
so
sounds like
fun.
up my alley for sure.
It's it's crazy because I don't like I typically well, I guess it's not it's kind of apples to oranges, but for the longest time I thought that I was just kind of done with multiplayer games because I was a big like
Okay.
Battlefield, Call of Duty, Halo guy for a long time. I even had a Fortnite
Sure.
phase, which is crazy. But
Yeah.
I started to get like really just like annoyed with them where I would play a
Yeah.
game and I would like get mad that I was losing or I would feel like
Yeah.
shafted because someone was cheating. And so I was like, if I'm not having fun,
Right.
why would I play these games? So cooperative multiplayer games have really started to become my jam. But this one
Yeah.
specifically, like I have never in my I have platinumed I guess it's not platinuming because it was on the Xbox 360, but I got all the achievements for one game in my entire life, and it's Halo 3. In
Okay.
2000, like, 8 or 9, I got it. But
Right.
right now, I'm looking at Phasmophobia, and I'm, like, 4 achievements away from having all of them,
Getting
and I
close.
really wanna do it. And
Right.
I never care about achievements. For some reason, this game
Yeah.
has, like, really roped me in.
That's great.
I love it.
Yeah. It's
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 so fun.
the multiplayer just like you said, the other traditional multiplayers like Call of Duty, Battlefield, Halo, that competitive side can really grind you down until you're way too exhausted to deal with it anymore. CS:GO kind of grinded me out of the game after a while. I put like 1,000 hours in, and then I was
Oh,
just like,
yeah.
this competitiveness is just too much for me. But yeah, then you have these cooperative games that come along, and they're just a fantastic time every time you pick it up. Like if someone at any time if someone told me like, "Hey, you want to hop into Lethal Company?" I'd be like, "Yeah, let's do it." And I just keep referencing that because that's what seems like the closest comparable that I've actually tried. But yeah, I think that's all great. It sounds like a great game. I should really get into it. Um,
Oh,
I
you'd
do have a
love it. It's
game.
so good.
Yes, of course. I do have a game I'd like to talk about. Because I've been talking about it a lot in the leading episodes, and now I finally have it because it's finally out, and that of course is Kirby Air Riders.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, I might get way too in depth and talk about the nitty gritties of this game, but I'll try to make it very quick because I feel like I owe it to people who have been on this Kirby Air Ride journey with me.
It is a
Kirby Air
game that
Riders is
really
great.
sucks you in apparently. All a bunch of my
Oh
friends have been
yes,
playing it, and they're addicted.
yeah, I have Metroid Prime 4 sitting on my desk right now, which by the way, I chose to talk to you instead of playing Metroid Prime 4, so take that as a
Oh, I'm
compliment.
honored, I'm honored. That's
Um,
great.
I'm gonna be sad while playing Metroid Prime 4 because I think I'll also want to be playing Kirby at the same time because I can't put it down either. It is a great time. I'm technically only renting it right now, and I'm just procrastinating returning it because I'm having so much fun. I grew up with the original Kirby Air Ride. I think it was a really overlooked game. I think it's incredibly fun, and it's something that no other game does. Like it really scratches its own or it paves its own path, which I think is great. I also recognize why some people don't click with Kirby Air Ride, and I think something I immediately noticed with Kirby Air Riders is that it's such a faithful and unapologetic sequel to the original to the point where I'm like, I still don't think people who didn't click with the original aren't going to click with this one either, which is unfortunate because it's very much instead of dialing down the craziness that's in the original, they just amp it up to 100, and instead of having a more focused view on its game modes, it decides to add more game modes into it and expand the horizons more. Uh, so all these things of like the common complaints I heard from people from friends when I would have them try Kirby Ride is like all this build up in city trial for this random small event. Well, guess what? They did that again, except now they added more events that you can do. And it's like, okay, that's great for me who likes Kirby Air Ride. That's unfortunate for those who don't like it because now I'm going to have nothing to say to them. I can't just be like, well, look, they fixed all this. It's like, well, no, they just doubled down on everything.
Just gave you
So
more
it's
of
one of
what you
those.
wanted.
Right. And I'm eating good. I love it. I love it to death. In terms of a sequel, it's a really, really good sequel because it adds it keeps the core values of what made the original great, but it adds more and more and more and more and more. And that's what makes it so much fun for me. I just feel bad because I'm like, I'm not gonna get my friends. I can't get my friends hooked on this because it's the same situation as the previous one. What I will say though, just some of the things that it does great. Being able to choose a event instead of being locked in from the start is great for city trial. It means that you can now experiment with more vehicles and not feel like uh, you got the short end of the stick by having a vehicle that can't fly because you just choose an event that you don't have to fly in. Um, and they added a mode called Road Trip, which is cool because you can get more attached to your vehicles. It's a longer spanning campaign, but you're still slowly building up your stats. So instead of losing all the stats that you spent a whole city trial for, you can now actually get attached to your vehicle and build it up over a period of time. I think that's all great. Um, City trial works great with online. It seems like something that should have been online from the beginning. Obviously, online on GameCube wasn't really a thing, but it does feel like this is where the game mode belongs, which is awesome. Um, the only things that hold me back a little bit is I wish I still get a little bit of the sense of like I did all of this for gourmet race, which is where you just go around and pick up all this food. Even though
Yeah.
I choose it, it's such a small event after a long period of building up, and the enjoyment mostly comes from the building up part, less so from the event itself. It would be nice if you did 2 or 3 events with the car that you built up in City Trial, and I'm surprised they didn't go that route. I think just having like maybe all the players who won their events on the first round get invited for the second round, and in the process knocking out previous people. I think that'd be a great way for you to still feel more accomplished for the stats that you have, while also not being overbearing because the events themselves are pretty short. 2 or 3 of them wouldn't make the game feel too long. Uh, that's like my only like negative critique towards it in terms of how it operates as a sequel. Because as a sequel, it does everything else great. It adds all the stuff you'd want it to add if you like the original. Love the game, absolutely love it. Close might be my game of the year. It's close.
Dang, this is
I
really good.
it's really, really good if you like Kirby Air Ride gameplay. If you don't like Kirby Air Ride gameplay, oh boy, it's gonna be rough. So I don't
If
know.
you don't like
I'm still
Kirby Air Ride, it's gonna be more Kirby Air Ride.
right. That's the tough part. It's the tough thing, and Sakurai, he likes to stick to his vision. He likes to set his own sights and not really worry about what the other people are saying as much, except for an Ultimate where he did a lot of stuff for fan service, not in a bad way, just that's what he did. But for most of his games, he gets these specific visions, and he saw this vision all the way through, and then he said he's done with it. He's not updating it. He's like, this is what I wanted, and it's here, and I'm here for it. I think it's great. So that's my take on Kirby Air Riders. I love it. And the world might not, and that's unfortunate. Uh,
I think it's kind of a
so,
beautiful thing though, because I've had
thank you.
so many. Well, like for me, like I'm a big, or I don't know if I still am, but I will say I'm a big Halo guy. Love Halo. Halo
Sure.
1, 2, and 3, super into it. Love them. But as the series aged, it just became more like other shooters and kind of started to lose its
Yeah.
identity. And then I eventually just kind of fell off completely. So to
Yeah.
have another Kirby Air Ride come out, decades later or however many
Right.
years later, and have it really just be a sequel to Kirby Air Ride is kind
Absolutely.
of a nice thing because it's like,
Yeah.
we didn't forget you and we stuck true to what we
Right.
we liked and we tried to, maximize and get it to the pinnacle of what it could be. That's it's kind of a nice thing and it's almost
Definitely.
like right now I was having this conversation with someone at my day job recently about how we went to Super Nintendo World at Universal, and we're like, "This is
Okay.
so cool. I grew up with Mario. I grew up with Donkey Kong. This is great. Like
Uh huh.
now I'm here doing this, and it's like, whoa, infiltration of the mainstream. Everybody's in on it. But in a way,
Yes.
now
Right.
that everybody's in on it, it's kind of not this. personal, intimate niche thing
Right.
that was unique to me. Now everybody's in on Mario, everybody's in on Donkey Kong.
Yes.
So sometimes, like, I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's nice that more people
Right.
are finally jumping on the train, however late they may be to it. Um,
Yeah.
but like, to at least have some things where it's like, this is truly mine.
Right.
If it's not everybody's cup of tea, who cares? I'm going crazy on
Yeah.
my Kirby Air Riders, and that's all I need.
Right.
Like, I've
I
heard from people that it is a GameCube game in 2025 in, like, the best way possible, but some people
Sure.
wanna
Yeah.
play Switch 2 games in 2025 and not
Right.
GameCube ones, so I kinda get it.
Yeah. I think as we get older, I think I guess I'm just lumping you into this. Sorry for assuming that you get older as well.
Oh,
But
no, I'm
as
old
we
now.
get
I turned
older,
30 a couple weeks ago. It's
okay.
over for me.
So
I'm unked
then
out.
you probably also agree that video game identity is something that it just becomes more important to us as we get older. Possibly as a way
Oh,
of us
yeah.
trying to reclaim our childhood that has long passed, or possibly just because we feel like games are becoming a little bit too sterilized and almost branded in a way. You know, you were talking about Super Nintendo World appeals to the mass public. Uh, all of their branding in Super Nintendo World is very much like Mario and Retro Mario, right? It is not necessarily Mario in his experimental games. It's not it's all things that you can put on a backpack and put on a cup, and it's all branded, right? And
Yeah.
not to say
It's
that's
Mario as the
inherently a
average
bad thing,
person would
but
see him.
right. And y- as games are also coming out that are, Mario, with Mario specifically, generally less experimental with Mario stuff, with a couple of exceptions. And I'm not trying to dash
Mhm.
or bash on modern Mario games. Some of them, they're all still pretty fun, no matter what.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Yeah.
but I can't help but miss like identities that you would find in like Super Mario Sunshine, or heck, even Mario Paint had such a really cool identity. Like I don't know, there's I guess being itself is far more important to me nowadays, as opposed to playing super a Switch Mario Party game and seeing no theming for the worlds or anything like that, when previous Mario Party games each had their own theme and stuff. Um, yeah, identity is just really important, I think.
Yeah.
I don't
And,
remember
like,
where we
Mario
got
used to
into this.
be Mario well, me neither, actually. But it's like, Mario is almost like a chameleon where it's like, this is the
Yeah,
one that's, classic Mario, but this is the one where he's in the weird, like, dream world with the Shy Guys, and this is the one where it's like a stage play, and this is the one with the dinosaurs, and this is
right.
the beach like, he was each one was like its own thing, but
Yeah,
I think starting around, like, the Wii era, like, the new Super
yeah,
Mario Bros. Types games they kinda opened up the door to having there be, like, a formula that they could always kind of
yeah,
revert
yeah,
back to, and
definitely.
it's like, yeah,
Well,
I mean, I guess, sure, but
I feel like
I don't know.
Galaxy, as much as Galaxy obviously has an identity, and I'm not trying to say it doesn't, but I feel like
Mhm.
in terms of gameplay, Galaxy also helps support this more formula style for the 3D Mario games as well, where it kind of goes back to its roots of like everything is kind of like you're in a toy box playing with blocks, right? It's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
a world that shapes to the platforming you do, as opposed to platforming in a pre-existing world or something, right? Every other Mario game after that has really followed that formula. More so with 3D Land and 3D World, a little less so with Odyssey. But even in Odyssey, you can feel that nothing else matters here but Mario. And now we get to see Mario in a dinosaur costume, and now he's in this world. And there's not a lot of overarching theme that connects the game together. It's just a bunch of random um, vistas for Mario to be at, and that's
Yeah.
I love Odyssey. I'm not saying Odyssey's like a bad game or anything like that. It's just I don't know. I miss games. I miss games that have, real strong identities that you remember it for the time period that it's in. Like Super Smash Brothers Brawl. As crazy, weird looking as that game
Oh,
is, it's
yeah.
such a moment in time. And we'll never see another game that looks like that again. Another Smash Brothers game that looks like that again. Uh, and that's okay. It's that we had a moment where we got to see Smash Brothers from a different lens, and that was really cool. So
Yeah, and
all that to say
to
with
that
Kirby Air
effect,
Ride,
like
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Kirby Air Ride. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Forgot about
Right.
that.
But basically,
Well,
Kirby Air
Smash
Ride does
Bros.
definitely continue his identity.
Oh yeah, but like to what you're saying before, Smash Bros. Brawl, like yeah, like it is a product of its time, and but now it's kind
Right.
of become a lens into the time that you've played it. Where if you go back and
Right.
play
And
Brawl,
that's
you
great.
remember exactly and feel exactly how everything went. I love that
Yeah.
feeling.
It's a great window into that moment in time, and you could say the same thing about the previous Smash Brothers games too. You know, Melee had its own
Yeah,
identity. Smash Brothers original, the Bossa Nova soundtrack had its own identity. Um, and you know, Ultimate is going to probably have its own identity when the next games come out. I'm not trying to say that Smash has done a bad job at that. I guess you could
oh
say
yeah,
Ultimate is mostly a continuation of Wii U's identity, but that's because
oh
the
for
Wii U one
sure, for
didn't
sure.
really exist. Yeah, so it's all that to say, yeah, we're getting old, and we appreciate the things of old, and
Yeah,
I think
so
it's
I'll
important. I think
appreciate
identity
my
is really
my
important.
Kirby Air Riders is
Right. Yeah, all that to say that. Um, yeah, Kirby Air Riders is great. Uh, I, in this show, we usually talk about news. There's usually a good portion of the show dedicated to news. We're already
yeah.
pretty far in the time, so I'm thinking I'm only going to grab a couple of our bigger headlines here, some of
Lightning
which has been
round.
outdated, but you know. Um, I guess a big one I wanted to start with is that My Nintendo News reported the first headline is rumor Dusk Bloods has been in work since 2019 and tested more than any FromSoft game. Now, for those who don't know, Dusk Bloods is the confirmed FromSoft game that's coming exclusively to the Nintendo Switch 2, at least for a period of time. It's probably not going to remain exclusive. But that was a big deal in the original announcement for Switch 2 because obviously riding on the highs of Elden Ring, but also just like this is not a Nintendo game. Like this isn't a game you'd expect on a Nintendo console, much less to be an exclusive. So it was a pretty big deal. The article
Yeah, it's
basically talks about
gigantic.
how yeah, the someone who's frequent in leaking this information, I guess, is relatively consistent. He was mentioning that the quote reads, Duskbloods was greenlit even earlier in the marketing period for Sekiro's release. It is the FromSoft title that has spent the longest time purely on gameplay prototyping and validation among all of their games so far. Uh, that's interesting because I imagine a reason it has to go through a lot of prototyping is because they're dealing with some weaker hardware with the Switch 2, and they're wanting to make sure they get it exactly right. Uh, Basically, I hope that's a good thing. I hope that means that they're really trying to optimize this as best as they can because the last thing we would want is an exclusive Nintendo Switch 2 title to not run well on the Nintendo Switch 2, right? Uh, so that's, I think, at least comforting to hear if it's true that it's being prototyped. Um, this game hasn't really been talked about at all since, or hasn't been mentioned by FromSoft really since its first announcement. So any kind of information about it being in development is helpful. But of course, there's not a lot here. No confirmed dates or anything like that. Just nice to see it in the limelight a little bit. Anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah,
Not
well,
that you have to, but
From Software has like very quickly become one of like my top 5 developers
right.
currently
Well, they're
currently
unstoppable.
doing it. Oh
Yeah.
my god, they're so unstoppable. I don't think
Right.
they, at least since they kind of changed everything with Dark Souls, I I don't I don't think they've released a bad game. I really
No. Yeah.
don't.
They crazy good track record.
It's insane, and for me to hear now, I did read about this, which is funny because I am like one of the most out of the news cycle people
Sure.
currently making videos about video games, but I did hear about that, and it makes me feel good in the way of like what you were saying, where yeah, like it's probably tailored to the Switch too, so there's not going to be much worry in terms of,
Right.
raw performance and playability, which I mean, From Software doesn't have the greatest track record there either.
Sure.
They love their poorly paced 30 frames per second. But I
Yeah.
will give them credit where credit is due in that, the last few games they've put out are that that situation has become less and less. But
Yeah.
I look at it from the point of, if they spent the longest time prototyping this, like, that is, like, foundational level stuff. I would love to
Sure.
know exactly what this game is doing differently when compared to Elden Ring, when compared to
Yeah.
Bloodborne. Like, what is the I don't
Yeah.
wanna say what is the gimmick if it's, like, an entirely new thing, but, like, that's the only
But
word that my brain is pulling out.
right. It seems like it needs some kind of gimmick to warrant that level of prototyping when we're all pretty clear that it's not going to be the same scale as Elden Ring, right? It is, after all,
Yeah.
it's a multiplayer experience, and I don't think we would expect a Elden Ring size campaign out of this. So it does make me curious as well, and I think that's why I just assume it must be for hardware reasons that they're really trying to get this um little wonky hardware like this handheld thing to run the quality that they're looking for. Uh, but it also could be that there's some big gameplay thing that just needs a lot of testing and a lot of tweaking. In which case, that's exciting too because interesting new gameplay things is always really cool.
I'd be
But
so
I'm
hyped.
not like a big FromSoft player just because I'm bad at games. I can't get in the weeds like other people can and grind out a boss for a long time. I did get to the end of Elden Ring. I technically haven't beaten it yet, and I enjoyed it for the most part. But I recognize that it's a genre out of my wheelhouse. I just think the spectacle is really cool though to get a FromSoft title exclusively on the Switch too for who knows how long. Could very easily, just be there for a year or two and then move on like
Yeah, I
other
am
ports have
curious
done.
about that. Like, how long will it stay
Yeah. It
with the
it
plumber
does feel
before
like
moving on to PC and everything else?
right. It feels like if it's not a Nintendo owned property, the age of exclusivity is almost ending. It seems like pretty much like Nintendo seems to be the only one that really hold on to their exclusive titles at this point, with even PlayStation buckling in the last couple years. So we'll see. We'll see. The next headline I wanted to talk about is a little bit more recent one. This is from Nintendo Life. The headline reads Nintendo to acquire Bandai Namco Studios Singapore as a subsidiary. To my understanding, this is just one of the Bandai Namco studios, but they officially want to acquire it after uh, Bandai Namco Singapore has worked with Nintendo specifically on a couple of other games, and this could be a pretty massive, not massive, but a pretty big acquisition for the development side. And every time I see a Bandai developed game that's also in partnership with Nintendo, it's usually a pretty dang good game. Some people have mentioned Splatoon. I obviously think of like the Smash series, though, the recent Smash games that Bandai Namco has worked on. Uh, so this could be interesting. This is also after Nintendo recently established a Nintendo of Singapore. So they they this could that could have been in preparation for an acquisition like this, as well as some other business plans that I'm sure they have. Uh, just kind of neat. I don't have much to say about it. Is there anything you wanted to add?
I don't know. I could be spreading a bit of misinfo with this, but I could have
Okay.
sworn I heard that their Bandai Namco Singapore was the original team that worked on Prime 4 before they kind of restructured. I could be way off the mark with
I
that.
feel like I've heard that too.
Yeah,
I
like,
don't know
I don't
where
know
that was
where.
confirmed, but I've definitely heard it in passing the mouth that they worked on Metroid before Retro took it over.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think, like, what else have they made?
Yeah, well, like I said, the only ones I know of were for sure was like Splatoon and the last two Smash Brothers games that had Namco. I don't know if it was Singapore specifically, but I know it was Bandai Namco. But I know those seem to be pretty high quality games. I'm trying to see here if it says anywhere else. Uh, worked on. Oh, I guess the Splatoon 3 they worked on specifically.
And
The article
people
doesn't
really
mention
like
others.
Splatoon 3, right?
Sure, people like Splatoon. They like the ink stuff. I can't get into it to be honest. I tried the test fires. The inaccurate shooting, I was just like, that's not for me.
I
I want to
couldn't
be
get into
accurate
it
when I shoot.
either.
But yeah, I appreciate its existence. I love that the Wii U birthed an IP. I think that's great. But yeah,
Wii U's gotta have
I'm not
something.
into it. The Wii U's got to have something. What IPs were birthed in the Switch era? Snipper clips? What
Oh,
was there a
yeah.
first party Nintendo IP that came from the Switch? Am I crazy?
From the that came to the Switch or came from the Switch?
What came from the Switch? Like that started on the Switch generation. Did that even happen?
Um, I don't think it counts entirely, but
Okay.
I think like Zelda's Legend of Zelda's new style, like new. Well, no, that's Wii U also.
That is
Breath of the
technically
Wild's
Wii
a Wii
U.
U game.
Yeah, it is. But I guess that was there no new like Nintendo characters? Or like
I don't think
new
so.
source of world, a new what? 1-2 switch, the horseman, is that all we got? What?
There is
I don't know.
you know what, I'm surprised we never saw. There was like a 3DS game, and it was like a
Uh-huh.
steampunk game about the US presidents, and it was like a
I
Nintendo
vaguely
made
remember
game.
this.
I think it was
Yeah.
called like Codename Steam or something.
Right. They pushed it
That
pretty
Where's
heavy, I
that on the
remember.
Switch? Where's that?
Yeah,
Where
that's
is
a
it?
good question. Where's Steel Diver, huh? These
That's what I'm
3DS IPs
saying.
that you started and did nothing with.
Yeah, man. Well, actually, wait. The only thing I can really think of would be like it has not turned into a full series, but Princess Peach Showtime could eventually be
But
something.
even yeah, I guess, yeah.
Where all
But
my
you
Showtime
know, it's a
heads at?
push. Yeah. But, Peach has been on screen 20 million times already,
Oh
and
yeah.
I didn't know if there was any Splatoon level on the Switch, and I think maybe there wasn't, because like that might be the first console generation in a while that doesn't really have something like that. When like the Wii had at the very least the Mii games, and of course other stuff too. GameCube, a plethora of Nintendo IPs came out. Nintendo 64 birthed some IPs. The Switch maybe just did not do any new IP. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I
you might
maybe
have
the
like little
comments will know.
subsets, but that's about
Maybe let
it.
us know in the comments.
There's gonna be some comments that are screaming at us, like, "I cannot believe you are not mentioning X game or Y game."
Yeah, I would.
The only
This is
thing
a
that
side
comes to
project, guys.
mind is Pokemon Legends, but it's still Pokemon. So I'm
It's
like,
still Pokemon.
what's the
Still
unique
Pokemon.
original thing? I don't know.
But
There's probably something.
a lot of Switch's library is also just re-released Wii U titles too. So, uh, I guess I don't know. This might have just been the generation of like let's correct the old before we get into the new or something.
Yeah,
Um,
let's give these games a second chance, and then we'll make
yeah,
Bonanza.
and then we'll make then we'll make Bonanza. But even Donkey Kong is still Donkey Kong. I'm looking for like a character driven IP, like a new world, a new Nintendo world. Do they
Yeah, like new
like? I don't know,
characters, new universe, everything.
just new everything.
I don't think
Someone to give
there's
Sakurai
been
to
one.
add to the next Smash Brothers because he's struggling. There's not much left to add, so give him something.
How much more
Um,
Ultimate could you get than Ultimate?
I know, yeah. Well,
What
and
else is left?
that's a big talking point we had when we were talking about Mario Kart World too. Was it's like how do you go after 8 Deluxe? And I wonder if we're gonna see something similar at the next Smash Brothers game of like, well, where did you expect me to go after Ultimate? Like I already added everything to that game. Uh, who knows? Uh, I'm like skipping a lot of news titles because I'm like, what is actually worth talking about here? Um, the two new indie games. This isn't even Nintendo related, but it is adjacent to Nintendo. Two new indie games have sequels in the works. One of which is a Shovel Knight. According to My Nintendo News, Yacht
Oh,
Club Games has
really?
been working on Shovel Knight 3D for the last 5 years, on and off. So I guess they've undertaken this project that has been massive for them, and there's still no. Well, okay, I guess right here it says the plan in 2026 is to shift focus back to Shovel Knight 3D and combine the two teams into one. Okay, so they've obviously worked on other games in the process, so that's why it's been on and off. But at some point, they apparently do want to return to a 3D Shovel Knight game.
I'd be so down. That would be so
Yeah,
sick.
it would be really sick. I'm Yacht Club Games is doing good work out there. Shovel Knight was great. I love the world of Shovel Knight, and seeing it in 3D would be awesome. Right now, all we've got is his representation in other games like Ukulele and I think Smash Ultimate are his other 3D representations. But
I
it'd be
forgot
cool to
about that
see a
ukulele
full
cameo.
3D game. Yeah, yeah. Well, I only remember because Ukulele's on the mind lately. Coming out pretty soon, although some development news. This kind of goes into another headline. So, Uh, I don't have the exact headline here, but another piece of news is apparently they responded to questions about the performance on the Switch 2 version of Ukulele Replay, and they're saying that they've been encountering a lot of difficult things they're trying to overcome. But then they also said, but the ukulele came out on the Nintendo Switch and was the definitive edition, and that only ran at 30 FPS. So, like, how much do you guys actually want 60? Essentially, is what they were saying, and it's like, no, we'd really like 60 for a game as old as Ukulele on the Switch 2, but not much to say
And
there. Just
there's got to be
not a
something
good
you could
response
pare
probably.
back to get it up to 60. There's got
Yeah,
to be
I
some way.
yeah,
Like I
it's
know the
just
Switch is very like DLSS FSR type of upscaling heavy. Like
right.
there's got to be some way to do it.
There's got to be, and the thing is ukulele is like the biggest or one of the biggest hurdles I ran into ukulele when it first came out. And there's a couple of hurdles, obviously, but
Oh
one
yeah,
of the
there's a
biggest ones
lot.
was optimization. Optimization was already rough on the first ukulele. So when they announced that they were remaking it, my first thought is, okay, maybe they could finally patch some of that stuff up. Maybe they could finally get it running up to code. But they instead went in an approach of uh, upgrading the graphics and changing the raw gameplay and stuff. And some stuff that's been welcomed by people, but in my head I'm like, you guys are you're going to make this even more difficult to optimize by adding in new lighting systems and stuff like that, when in reality I just wanted the game to run well in the first place. So when I hear that, I don't know, on the Switch 2, which is the system that I would ideally like to play ukulele on, just because it feels right to play an IP like that pays so much homage to earlier Nintendo IPs. It makes sense for me to want to play that on the Switch too, and to hear that it might not be a great way to experience the game. I'm just, it's kind of unfortunate to hear, especially because I'm like, I don't know, I just feel like optimization should be it's like the cart before the horse to add all this extra stuff and not get that stuff down, basically. Um, but that's
Yeah, and
kind of a bigger industry problem right now.
I know ukulele specifically. I know it's a Unity game, which is the
Right.
one game engine that I have a lot of experience with. And
Right.
I did play the demo for Replayly recently, and I
Uh
was
huh.
going through it and I'm like, this is really nice. It feels really good to control. I do like some of the new stuff they've added. But the whole
Sure.
time I remember I was like, something is like really off about
Uh
this, and
huh.
I can't tell what it is. And then I finally realized I was getting these like micro stutters every couple of seconds, and
I
it
think I was experiencing
instantly,
that too.
yes, and it instantly
Yeah.
brought me back to when I was developing like my first game in Unity,
Uh
and
huh.
there are just these weird every second micro stutters that are tied to some sort of like animation bug that's been in the
Right.
engine for like years. And I was like, man, they really have not figured this out yet.
Man.
Like
Yeah.
it's still there. Like for as much as the game looks better and plays better, there are just still those weird technical
Yeah.
hiccups that are just they can't get him out. I don't know
Yeah.
what it's gonna take. And I don't know if it's
I
the fault of Platonic or Unity themselves, but it's just like,
yeah.
dang, we really can't do anything.
Well, and to me it felt like a situation of just maybe holding on to old code for a little too long, right? Like
Probably, yeah.
maybe a game from the ground up, a ukulele 2 or something, maybe would not experience a lot of these hurdles that the other ones is. But even in some of the gameplay, I was noticing like physics were bizarre. Um, like
They
trying to
are,
platform on
yeah.
things that are angled weird. And that was something I had problems with the first one. I was hoping maybe they would have ironed it out a little bit. And I didn't get that from the demo. So I don't know. I played the demo and I was like, there's some red flags here. I also never thought ukulele looked bad. Like I never thought of ukulele and thought like, what, this the biggest problem with this game is that it doesn't look good enough. So when hearing that that's like the biggest thing pushing them forward with this new adaptation, and then of course getting rid of the Metroidvania elements of unlocking all of your movements at once, which I actually liked the Metroidvania elements. I liked unlocking that
Yeah,
stuff. I
I
don't know.
liked it.
So I don't know what crowd they're appealing to. I'm sure it exists out there, but a lot of red flags that just popped up with this game. That makes me sad because I love 3D platformers and I want to see them succeed. But uh, what can you do? What can you do?
Can't
Uh,
win them all. Gotta wait for
yeah,
ukulele.
Right, exactly. From my understanding, a lot of people have thoroughly enjoyed their time with this new one though. So I'm sure there's a lot to enjoy with it. I just wasn't sold with the all the discussion around it as well as the demo. Uh the
Yeah,
other
and I
game I was
choose
going
to
to
see
mention
it
that's
as like
coming out.
their. Oh no, you go. You're good. You're good.
Sorry. No, you could finish it and then
I
I'll
think
rush
there
back
is like
into
a
it.
bit of Discord delay that we're experiencing. But
It
no,
there
all I
is.
was gonna
It's
say
okay.
was I think they're, if anything, if all of this is them just continuing to find their way in the type of
Right.
game that they want to make, like, let's try some new things, see what sticks, then sure. We'll get there
Yeah.
eventually. I do think
Hopefully.
it's a really good team, and I wanna, like you said, I really wanna see them succeed.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and how can we not uh like the team that, worked on the original Banjo-Kazooie games? It's like I want Playtonic to succeed as much as possible. Uh Sometimes I just don't understand their priorities so much, but that's
Yeah.
okay. They at least did Impossible Lair, which across
I
the board
love
seemed like a
Impossible
pretty
Lair.
well received game. Yeah. Um
So good.
yeah, I again, I hate to be a negative Nancy, but it wasn't incredibly optimized on the Switch, and I was disappointed with that. But what are you gonna do?
Oh, yeah. I remember it had, like, a
Either way,
super low resolution and did not look
yeah,
the best and also did not run the best.
yeah. The and that game requires a lot of precise platforming too. So when you have lower frame rate or when it starts to like chug and run slower, it affects the gameplay quite a bit when it's needs to be that precise. It's not like the days of Banjo where you'd play at a
Oh, yeah.
15 FPS or 20 FPS, whatever it was, and it'd be like, well, yeah, but it's Banjo. It doesn't really matter. You're just walking on some flat surfaces. The last game that's also in development, that's an indie game that I wanted to talk about, is this Vampire Crawlers game from the team that made Vampire Survivors. It is a deck building Vampire Survivors game, uh, which is kind of neat. I don't fully understand the gameplay from the trailers and stuff that I've read, uh, but essentially, I think it is a roguelite again, but this time with deck building attributes. And that's I don't know. It looks complicated. I can't get a full grasp on it. But I loved the original Vampire Survivors, so I think it's really cool that Crawlers is now in development, and I believe it's already been confirmed for the Switch One, if not also the Switch Two. Uh, oh, I could be wrong because their trailer doesn't say that. So I don't know. I thought I read somewhere that's coming to the Switch. Hopefully, it comes to the Switch, and then that will justify me bringing it up on a Nintendo themed podcast. Brian,
You would hope
I
that it comes to the Switch one. That's an install base of 100 million people. That'd be
right.
that'd be a lot of
It
money.
Yes, yeah. And Vampire Survivors went to the Switch at one point and even had some exclusive content for a period of time with its multiplayer, as other versions didn't have that. And now I think they all do. But I very much enjoyed that game, and hopefully I'll enjoy this one too. Brian, I have a question for you.
Oh boy.
What
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
what games are you excited about? What do you want to add to your library? What do you want to put on your screen? What do you want to hold in your hands? What's in the pipeline that you can't wait to play?
The games that I think I'm most excited for. Well, I am I have a lot of games that I'm like interested in. Like I am
Sure,
very excited to see what Duskbloods is like when it comes out. I'm really
sure.
hyped to see what this remake of Silent Hill 1 is going to be. I'm really excited to see what this 007 First Light game is going to be like
Right.
from the people who made Hitman. But like, man, I really just want to play Kingdom Hearts 4. I love Kingdom Hearts so much.
That's funny.
Those games are insane games made by insane people, and I mean that in the nicest of ways that I possibly can.
Sure.
I and also I don't know how familiar you are with this series, but
Not at all.
this this fourth one seems like a huge tonal shift. So anytime a
Okay.
series does that, I'm always interested. I want to know what's up. Um, so I don't know. We don't know a whole lot about it. I just know that I'm gonna get it. Really I don't really pre-order games anymore, but
Sure.
damn, I'm gonna pre-order that one for sure. Other than that, I want to be very excited for Grand Theft Auto 6. but I don't think I could play it when
That's
it
such a
comes out
vibe.
because I don't have an Xbox or a PlayStation,
Yeah.
and they don't release it on PC day one. Um,
Yeah.
which kind of stinks. And then this isn't a game that I'm like
Okay.
hyped for, like really excited to make or to play, but the the people who made Celeste, they were working on a game called I think it was called like Earthblade, that got
Okay.
canceled, and it was a huge shame. Celeste is what I would consider to be a near perfect game. It's one of my favorite games of all
Sure.
time, so I was really, really hyped for their next jam. Uh, but it got canceled. So I know they're not going to stop making games, obviously, but I think that team is insanely talented. I think they are very, very passionate about the
Right.
medium, and you can
Definitely.
tell it when you play Celeste. So whatever they make next, whatever it is, I don't care what genre, I'm playing it because I know it's gonna be great.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
if, yeah, I don't think I have any other ones that I
No,
could
that's
think
good.
of.
That's good. That's plenty. I will say I think it's interesting. I think last episode I had someone on who also said Kingdom Hearts 4 in their games they're excited about. And then I asked him, has there been any like news about that? Is that coming out or something? And he's like, no, no, no news. I'm just excited for it. And I
There's
was like,
one
okay, fair
trailer and
enough.
that's it.
Yeah, that's what he mentioned too. Has been one trailer. But I can understand. I've been excited for Metroid Prime 4 for longer than what is it? Longer than 8 years at this point, and there's been hardly anything announced for it until recent times. So, uh, yeah, I think that's great. I hope Kingdom Hearts 4 can live up to the hype as much as Kingdom Hearts 3 did, if not more, because um, I heard there was still room to improve with Kingdom Hearts 3. But
Oh, there's
I'm
so
a
much room to
spectator.
improve.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know much about the series, but I'm glad at least you guys are getting some stuff now after a long period of not getting stuff. Um, Brian, I think we did it. I
Oh
think we did
yeah.
it. I think we got through
I
the
think we might have
episode.
made it.
I think we made it. This is definitely the least structured episode I've done, which gives me the satisfaction because of or gives me satisfaction in knowing that we had such an engrossing conversation that hardly followed an outline at all, and that means we had a good time. And hopefully you guys out
Yeah.
there listening also had a good time, and you can continue to have a good time by joining the Pat Nat Games Discord server, where you can discuss any of our podcasts and opinions in person, where I may or may not take it personally. You can also listen to us on any of your favorite podcasting platforms if you're not already, and if you are, thank you. I applaud you. And you're also welcome to listen to us here on YouTube. Uh, Brian, where can people find you? Where can they get to know about your stuff? Where can I send people to?
Oh boy. Well, I suppose the main place would be YouTube. So, they
Sure.
go by the like the handles now, like the at symbol and
They
then
do.
your name. So
They
yeah,
do.
mine would just be at Brian Brian period Henken. That's me. I make a lot
Perfect.
of I don't I want to say they're video essays. I don't even know what the heck to call them anymore at this point because they've become they started as one thing and they've become something else. But I have a good
I
time
think you
over
could get
there. I
away
like what
with
I do.
essays or think pieces. I
Yeah,
think it still
think
fits
piece
that
is
way.
probably a better way of putting it.
There you go. That one's free.
Thank you. I'm gonna that'll be I'm changing my bios on everything to professional think piece creator,
Right.
professional stream of consciousness think piece
Yeah.
maker.
Any socials you wanted to mention?
Oh, you're right. I am on social media. Forgot about that.
It's all good. It's
Um,
all good.
I am on Blue Sky at Brian Henken. I am on Twitter begrudgingly at Brian Henken. I am on Instagram begrudgingly at
Yep,
Brian
sounds about
dot
right.
Henken. And then, but the main thing is YouTube. That's typically where I do most of my hanging out. So
There you go.
yeah, I can't think of anything else that I'm on.
It's
Uh,
okay. You've named plenty. I think
add
that'll
me on
suffice for people.
MySpace, get me on Yahoo Chat. I'm on AOL Instant Messenger.
Ask.com. You guys should definitely, at the very least, check out his YouTube channel. Your work is seriously great. I mean that wholeheartedly. Thoroughly enjoyed every video I've seen so far. So I hope you keep it
Thank
up. I
you,
look forward to
thank
seeing
you.
what you make next. And with that, thank you guys so much for listening. Subscribe if you want to see more. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care. So long.
See you later.